also celebrating Australia for what it is marking the suffering of the First Nations,
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Well, you need to acknowledge that, don't you? That is history. In order to go forward, you need to acknowledge history.
Well, I don't think that people think about Australia Day being a celebration of suffering. I think that at the very least...
Well, not celebrating it, but certainly marking it. And saying,
sure,
well, today, on this day, we also mark the fact that there were people who were there before us, and they suffered under our, Can I just throw you this suggestion that was once put to me? Perhaps keep it on January 26th, but perhaps start the day with a dawn service. Start the day acknowledging the suffering of the First Nations, of the Indigenous people, and then throughout the day make it a more inclusive day of not just white Australia, but, colourful Australia, I guess.
Well, I guess essentially what we're talking about here is a version of history, and the idea that Australia Day, that British colonisation, that those institutions are either overwhelmingly positive or negative. And
do you think it's positive or negative? Do you think the British institutions that colonised Australia are positive or negative?
Overwhelmingly positive.
But you do understand and you do acknowledge the suffering that these British institutions also
Well, it wasn't British institution. It's not British institutions. It's not the rule of law or representative government or Westminster Parliament.
Well, it was British institutions that brought the settlers here, and those are the British institutions too that also decided to take in the Indigenous people, cull them of their culture.
But this is a much broader discussion about what colonisation was, not British colonisation, but the colonisation that was happening in the 16th and 17th centuries.
And January 26th is the symbol of that colonisation.
No, it's